Ian Duncan, Conservative MEP for Scotland, Anne Glover was the Chief Scientific Advisor for the EU. That post is no longer there. Juncker's said he's getting rid of it. Why are you so concerned about that?
Well, one very simple reason. Science has to be at the heart of many of the decisions we take. If you basically cut science and cut the scientist, then who are you relying upon? We've had Anne Glover, one of the leading scientists in the world, advising the European Union. And now we don't. That's the problem.
I mean, what is it about her role that adds value, that's useful from your point of view for Scotland, for Europe as a whole?
Well, almost everything we now do in the environment touches upon some aspect of science, whether it be in the area of climate change, which I'll be working on quite heavily, whether it be in issues of farming, fishing. Science is at the heart of this. We have to be able to rely upon sound scientists. If you cut out the sound scientist, then actually, how can you really trust the Commission at all?
And of course there's a climate change conference coming up, the UN conference in Lima. How much of a disappointment is it to you to go into a conference like that without a chief scientific advisor post?
Well, there are two things to take here. I think this is probably the most important climate change conference that we're going to have, full stop. I think the message we send to the world that just before we go to the conference, we are going to cut the chief scientific officer. That is the worst possible message we can send. We have got to get this right, and we should use every resource at our disposal. Now, we have a chief scientific officer. That post will come to an end, and we will not replace it. That is a retrograde step, and that's why today in the Parliament I called on Mr. Juncker to reverse his decision. It was wrong, and he has got to make it right.
How do you rate your chances of convincing Juncker to change his mind?
Well, I come back to the very fundamentals. You can't just cut science out of the equation. A scientific advisor is an asset to any institution. I think Mr. Juncker needs to recognise that. Talk to Mr. Barroso. He swore by Anne Glover. Let's make sure, going forward, we have got a scientist in the building offering serious advice for all the serious challenges that we face.